Oh, hi there. Suppose some of you know Mike Fisher from the Nashville Predators has announced his retirement at 37 years of age. Uh, I actually am surprised by this. I really shouldn't be because I'd heard rumor that Ryan Johansson was going to be the next captain. So I should have clued in, but I don't know. I didn't see it. I wasn't thinking about that at the time. Mike Fisher, he was a decent two-way forward. He never really had great point totals. On Ottawa, I think his best season, he had like 53 points. He was on the team when they played Anaheim and lost. And just recently he was on Nashville when they lost to Pittsburgh. The thing is, this signifies what I was kind of expecting to happen for Nashville. They make it to the Cup final, and then afterwards, it could be a long time before they get back there. For different reasons than San Jose, I think the Nashville Predators were a better team to play Pittsburgh than San Jose was playing Pittsburgh. I've said that before and I'll say it again. San Jose was able to keep most of their players last year after the defeat against the Penguins, but in the playoffs they were just abysmal. But this year, Nashville, they made a better run for the Cup than San Jose, and now their team's kind of fallen apart. Mike Fisher's retired. And yeah, it's it's not holding together. James Neal got grabbed up by Vegas. I think he's been traded now, hasn't he? Yeah, I've been distracted. I think he's still on Vegas, actually. Really ought to have looked into that before I made this video. Anyway, yeah, so Nashville will have to work a little bit harder to be successful again next year. Nashville, I've never been there, but I hear it's an awesome city. Like a way better city than Pittsburgh, way better city than San Jose. And I think if the city is a decent place, that should play some kind of an edge if they win the Stanley Cup or not. Because, as I've explained in other videos, the NHL is a corporation, and it's not just the 20 players on the ice that determine whether a team's going to win or not. It's simplistic thought that, shuts everything down and just looks at things from a narrow-minded perspective. Mike Fisher retiring, usual sort of reasons. He's 37 years old, he's thinking about his family, and that sort of stuff. He's married to Carrie Underwood, whom a lot of people suspect had a fairly big hand to play on him being traded to Nashville in the first place. She's hot, so I guess, when she says things to him, he listens. Yeah, 37 is about the right age to retire. It's better to just gracefully leave than, continue working and not being at your optimal. Teemu Selanne, when he won the Stanley Cup in the Anaheim Ducks, he wanted to retire right then and there because he wanted to retire on top. I forget how old he was at the time, but he was getting there. He could have retired, but the Anaheim Duck organization didn't want him to retire, so he played a few more seasons. And Anaheim wasn't too terribly successful. If I recall correctly, he retired when they lost against Chicago in the conference final. Yeah, I could be wrong about that. I'm just a little bit confused on my statistics right now, but the thing is, he didn't retire at the time he wanted to. And it looks as though Mike Fisher is perfectly comfortable retiring at 37 years of age. The new up-and-comer for captain would be Ryan Johansson. Decent player. He had some good years with Columbus, a lousy team at the time. still haven't been too terribly successful, but they were a better team last year than they had been before. I think he'd be a good captain. He's 25 years old, so he's got time to improve, get more experience in the NHL, and really perform at an elite level. I figure the team will still be good next year. There won't be like San Jose, I'm hoping, where they just they have no hope of really rebuilding. Because I still can't believe they re-signed Joe Thornton. Like, the only reason I can think of is, morale for the team. Because what do they want? They wanted, Joe Thornton got like $8 million. He didn't have that great a season last year. I mean, he was injured through part of it, sure, but even so, he's an old man. He's not worth $8 million. Old man in hockey terms, anyway. Yeah, there are a few other players on Nashville that are still good. I obviously like PK Subban. Ryan Ellis is a good defenseman. Pekka Rinne, he was a little dodgy these playoffs. I figure he could do better, but it's starting to look like the way his career is going that that was his chance and now it's gone. And the next time Nashville makes a serious playoff push, it will be with a different goaltender. And I want to say his name. His first name's Jussi, the backup goalie. I just forget what his damn last name is. He rarely played. He played a little bit in the playoffs. All I remember is his first name, Jussi. He's 22 years old. For what it was worth, he was a decent goalie. I seem to remember him having a not bad win percentage and a not bad goals against average, which is important for a team like Nashville that doesn't score a lot of goals. It's a big loss that they lost James Neal, and well, not so much on point wise for Mike Fisher, but he was a physical presence and a good defensive forward. He didn't, have bad point totals. I think he had around 20 goals and around 20 assists, but he was never going to be a point goal guy. Never was throughout his whole career. And at this point, it looks as though he's gone into the dustbin of hockey. Albeit a very, very nice, pretty dustbin. I'm married to Carrie Underwood, but obviously you don't really want to retire until you have a Lord Stanley Cup ring, and to have hoisted the Stanley Cup. No player really wants to retire until that happens. But 37 years of age is round about the time that you figure you should do it. Anyway, yeah, Pekka Rinne, he's 34 years old right now, so I don't know exactly what the grand plan is for him, whether to keep playing him for a few more years, possibly trade him or anything, because I think he's being paid too much. That's just my opinion. But the thing is, I think Nashville made a better push in the playoffs than San Jose, and unfortunately, especially because of the draft expansion, they lost a player to Vegas, a good player, and the team suffered more after the season than San Jose did. San Jose was able to keep most of their core players, or all of them actually, and now Patrick Marleau's off to Toronto, but they had him for another year before that happened. Even though he's getting old too, and he's gone to Toronto, and he'll simmer over there for maybe a couple of years, and then they'll either buy him out or retire or something like that over there. I think his days for making a Stanley Cup push are over. Yeah, just trying to think of what else I wanted to say about Nashville. if I knew what I knew today, you know, when I first made videos saying I was hoping Nashville was going to defeat the Pittsburgh Penguins, I was a little pessimistic about it. I would still have cheered for Nashville over Pittsburgh because, well, I hate Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby's still got a lot of good years in him, and they may very well make another serious Stanley Cup push and may win it again. We don't really know. I'm hoping not. I've certainly wagered a bet of a whole dollar on Patrick Kane getting more points than him, and it would really, really be funny if the Chicago Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup again. Just making the wager that I made all the more sweet. Yeah, I mean, some people don't like Patrick Kane because they hear some vague stories about him over the years. That I chalk it all up to propaganda. You have no idea what happens in those inner circles and those indescript, vague stories. You don't really know what happened. And Sidney Crosby, like he's not as nice a guy as some people like to think. I'm sure he's trained, he knows how to smile in front of the camera and say exactly what the NHL would want him to say, but rest assured, he is a prick in real life. Yeah, you don't have to take my word for it, but try and use logic and think from things from a more intelligent point of view. I mean, I've run into hockey fans and oh god, are they so stupid, some of them. It's really embarrassing that people are that stupid in the first place. They can recite statistics and things like that like the back of their hand, but they're too narrow-minded to see things from a broader perspective. And I don't know, the problem when you don't think of things as a whole is that you can develop a thing called cognitive dissonance, where if anyone contradicts you on what you believe, then you openly deny it, and inevitably some people just fall apart. I mean, I have my beliefs on the NHL, but if anyone can correct me, and in convincing fashion, I will take what they have to say into consideration, because I do not have cognitive dissonance. I don't look at things like, I'm right, and I'm going to ignore everything that contradicts what I have to say. I mean, obviously you have to ignore some of the things people say, because some people say things just to be trolls and to be, pricks and assholes and things like that. So you have to ignore what some people say, but if they come up with a sensible, format of debate, then there's no reason you shouldn't listen to them, or, at least hear them out. If you're not too busy anyway. So anyway, yeah, this video was about Mike Fisher retiring. 37 is about the right age. He could have played a couple more years, maybe potentially made another Stanley Cup push. I certainly would have been tempted to do that in his position. Because physically you could play in the NHL until you're 40. That is entirely doable. But, I don't know, for whatever reasons, I'm sure he's not going to get into those, especially on media. He decided to retire at 37. That was the year for him, and good luck with the rest of his career, because although he won't be in the limelight, he will not be out of the NHL, not by a long shot. There are jobs within the NHL that have nothing to do with being a trainer, coach, hockey player, and all that. There's all kinds of jobs in the NHL, and only a very select few people get to, get in on those jobs. And, hopefully one day, perhaps I can, work some sort of a fiddle where I can get into one. Until that day, I'll just keep making YouTube videos in my washroom. So, talk to you guys later. Have a good one. See ya.